Fingers crossed that this is working. Hi. Hey, everybody. Good to see you today. I'm glad to be here today because I get to talk about something that I really love today. That was me checking my notes. I get to talk about the neurovocal teacher training and certification. And, I wasn't going to do this, but then it occurred to me that I want to. Like, this is the last week to register. I still have some time open, some places open in this tiny little class. Well, it's 12 people, so I guess it's not tiny, but it's, it's small. And I still have some spaces available. And I'm like, I want to talk about this. Like, I want to talk about this class because clearly you guys don't know how freaking cool it is. So that's what we're going to talk about. And I never, ever stop being excited about it. So today, before I do anything else, I'm going to tell you that I have a freebie that is, here's my trigger, that is a copy of my ebook. If you are on my mailing list, you got this in your inbox this morning. You probably already got it from me previously, but anyway, you have it. But today on Facebook, if you want to get that, put neurovocal in the comments on my page, or if you're watching on YouTube, you can find that link in the description below. So there we go. Also, I want to tell you that if you register today, and I will get to more of this later, but if you register, well, between now and when the doors close on Thursday, and you put in live stream, if you pick the 6 payment option and put in the code live stream, you will get the first payment for free, no charge, just so you know. I'll tell you again later, but don't worry about it. Anyway, so I want you to know that I have been teaching this class for 5 years. And in those 5 years, I have noticed, I couldn't help but notice, that there are basically 2 kinds of people who take this class. There are the college-educated voice teachers who are trained mostly or exclusively in classical technique. So those people, oh, I need my other light. So those people, and they tend to be independent or adjunct teachers, and they find, sorry, I'm messing with my light, but I'm trying to keep talking even though I'm messing with my light, and they find that here they are with their swell classical training, and they love singing classical, but all of the people that they are being of service to, all of their clients, all of their students, are people who want to sing, or maybe not all, sometimes all, but at least most of their clients want to sing popular styles or contemporary music theater, which is not too far afield from popular styles, let's be honest. So there's that person. So here's this person who has all this training and she wants to help people, and sometimes she feels like she just doesn't know what she's doing. And so she's sick of it. And then she signs up for my class because she wants to learn how to teach popular styles. There's that person. And then there's also the person who is a singer, just a naturally good singer. She was singing in bands, or she was a singer-songwriter, and people started going, excuse me, can you teach me how to do what you do? And so there she was giving voice lessons and going like, okay, I think I know how I do what I'm doing, but I don't actually have like a systematic way to approach it because I just sing. So those are the 2 people that tend to take my class, neither of whom have received a systematic way to teach popular styles, which, let's be fair, there isn't a lot of that out there. There are ways to teach popular styles, but there are very few, if any, systematic ways to teach it. So that's who takes my class. And also, not to put too fine a point on it, but they are also people who are really deeply motivated as individuals to do their job really well and to be of service to their musician clients whom they care about very deeply. And so I feel very privileged I'm always in a group of this caliber of person. So how lucky am I? I love that whenever I'm teaching a class. So I wanted you to know that. And I wanted you to know, and again, I'm doing this today because there are only 4 days left to register for the summer session, and the summer session is the last class that I'm offering this year. And then I get back to my regular stuff that I do. So I've never really thought of, so that's why I'm doing this today. I'm doing it because of that, and because I've never really thought of doing this before, and because it's the final session. So I am here to tell you, before I tell you all about what's in the course, I want to first of all invite you to throw in questions in the comments, or if you have a question, you can DM me. Wendy is here. Hi, Wendy. So you can DM me if you want, if you have a question or a comment. I love to hear them. I want to hear them, because some people, I mean, I'm really understanding that there's some lurkers out there, and they're really curious about this idea of brain science and teaching popular styles, but they're like, oh, I need to know a little bit more. So here we are today, hopefully learning a little bit more. So again, I'm going to tell you that, I still have my trigger up there. Okay, so that's the trigger. Put it in the comments, or look for the description below if you're on YouTube, and you can get this ebook. And this is what we're talking about today. There we go. There's our title. And also, I want to remind you that if during this, if anytime this week, if you decide, yeah, I think I want to sign up for this, if you pick the 6 payment option and you put in the word live stream as a promo code, you will get the first one for free, the first payment for free. So no first payment. So that's kind of fun. Thank you. And Wendy Martelli is here, and she is a neurovocal teacher, and this is what she has to say about it. And because Wendy was in that first category of people. Like, she has this gorgeous voice. She's a beautiful singer. Sorry, Wendy, I'm just gonna tell them about you a little bit. I hope you don't mind. Yeah, gorgeous singer, loves her students. Loves her students. Talks about her students with so much love that sometimes she would get a little teary. It was so moving. I'm so privileged to work with people of Wendy's caliber. But she's like, I want to help them. I'm doing my best to help them. I am helping them, but I want to feel more confident about that. I want a systematic approach. So that's why she took the class. I'm pretty sure she'll tell me if I'm wrong. So I want to tell you a little bit about my story. Is that what my notes say? Yes, because I do think it's important to share, because I think that my story is not all that different from a lot of people's stories, in that, she gave me a thumbs up. It is the right thing. I was the kid with the pretty voice in choir, and my parents were supportive of me, and I got voice lessons. Yay! But the voice lessons that I got, nobody said, hey, 14-year-old Meredith, what kind of music do you want to sing? What do you want to get good at? What are you listening to at home? What is your dream for yourself? Nobody said that. Nobody asked me about my own musicality, my own musicianship. None of that. They just said, these are singing lessons. And in fact, they were singing lessons, but for a very tiny niche of the singing world. Classical. They were Western classical lessons. So I had 4 years of Western classical voice lessons in high school, never understanding, as they don't, our clients don't understand, never understanding that this training was very specific. It was training to a genre, not to an individual. And so I was getting this very specific instruction about what singing was, but for a tiny little niche that I had no knowledge of, and therefore no interest in, because you have to know something to be interested in it. So there I am, right? Like so many other kids. And then I go to college and I get more classical lessons. Even though I was undeclared, I wanted voice lessons, so the only thing that was available was classical. So then I find University of Miami. Yay, University of Miami, which is offering studio music and jazz for a major. Wow, finally, yay, that's what I want. So I transfer there, and they give me more classical lessons. So by the time I'm done with college, I have like 8.5 years of classical lessons, a degree in studio music and jazz, and as one of my clients very succinctly put it, a broken voice. Like, I didn't know how to work my voice to do the kind of singing that I wanted to do. So times being what they were, this was before the internet, I was able to get a job with a top 40 band, a touring band, road band. So that's what I did. So I got this job with the road band, and I was out there touring. So I was singing 5 or 6 nights a week, depending on the gig, between 3 and 4 hours a night, depending on the gig, for months and months. So at the end of 9 months, so with my swell classical technique and just trying to make things work, trying to make the sounds that I needed to make. And at the end of 9 months, I had trashed my voice. I had no voice left. So fast forward, a year of healing, Reiki, steroids, trying to avoid surgery, all this stuff. And then go to Chicago, and now I'm studying with a guy who is a jingle singer. So he is just popular styles. That's all he's ever done. That's all he knows. And I'm like, oh my God, I am singing for the first time in my life. I really felt like I was singing. Not just making the noise that was like singing, but actually like singing from my soul. And that was a transformative experience for me. So all that to say, well, okay, to be fair, at that point, I became a bit of an evangelist. I wanted to save all the pop singers from all the classical training. But obviously, I'm only one person, so I could not do that. And then I don't actually know how this happened, but I read and I know things, and so there was a point at which, because I had been immersing myself in books about neuroscience, just because I was interested in them, there was a point at which I went, wait a minute. And so that was about 25, well, that was a long time ago. That was more than 25 years ago. And so I've been sort of building. And of course, because it's neuroscience, things are always changing. Like every 15 minutes, things are different in neuroscience. And so I get to, I don't work in a university. I'm not a proper researcher. I'm not a real scientist. I'm just a dork who's interested. And so I just try to stay up on what things in neuroscience, and some in voice, but mostly neuroscience, to be honest, what affects us as singers, and how we can best use the way we're wired, or the way we can be wired, the way we can change our wiring to serve us best and healthiest, and for the most longevity and all of the stuff that we want as singers. So that's kind of, I guess that's a version of my story. So once again, I'm going to throw this up there. If you're just joining me, if you put neurovocal in the comments, you will get a link to, or if you're watching on YouTube, in the description below, you will get a link to get my free ebook, Making Them Stick, how to attract and keep singers of popular styles for independent voice teachers. Because a lot of times independent voice teachers are unknowing, and adjunct voice teachers too, but mostly independent. We are unknowingly chasing away a big portion of our clientele. Everything from our webpage to the way we talk to people to the assumptions we make. And you know how it is with assumptions. Assumptions tend to hide in plain sight, as we know. So we tend to do things that maybe are not letting our singers stay with us or even come to us in the first place. Because I'm going to be honest, and this kind of brings me to my next point. I'm looking at my notes. That's why when I look down, I'm looking at my notes. Hold on. Let's bring this back. Boop, 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 boop. I'm going to put this up here so that people can get information if they want. Okay, training for popular styles. I think I was just about to say something, and then whoosh, it just ran out of my head. But, singers of popular styles. Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you. And this is in the book also, but I'm going to tell it to you. They do not trust you. And there's a reason. There are reasons that they don't trust you. And I've recently figured out how to say this as succinctly as possible. So listen up. When we teach, if we have come from the idea that we're teaching singing, So particularly if you are classically trained or you're trained for music theater, you are trained as somebody who is the voice of the composer. And so there's a way to do things. There, and depending on what you're studying, there's a framework that's more or less strict. And you have to, like, if your teacher is teaching you to sing for Western classical styles, you're learning how to sing, because you have to know how to sing for those styles. If you ever want to get any work or attention or opportunities at all, there's a specific way to sing for those styles. So your teacher is teaching you how to sing, and she's called a teacher, and that's legitimate in that field. In popular styles, though, here's the thing. This is the gold today. You are not teaching to the genre as your teacher might have been. You are teaching to the individual. And that is a very, very different mindset. You are teaching for a person. And that is one of the things that we really focus on in neurovocal training, is that it is guided by the individual. And we are trying to help the individual find their voice for expression. We do not train to the genre. So, which is really, and it can be scary if you don't have a framework, or you don't have a systematic way to approach that. The whole idea of teaching outside of a genre, or not teaching somebody how to sing, can make you feel really unsure. But if you have a sense of, oh, I know how this goes, like I know what the goals are, and I know how to get there, then it's super fun. It's just fun. It's fun. That's all I can say. It's fun. So training for popular music styles. I'm looking at my notes again. Classical training. Many of us have come up with the idea that classical training is a good foundation for all of singing, or music theater. That there are foundational ways to make sound for all of singing. We may have been taught that popular styles are not healthy. We may have been taught that popular styles are not healthy. We may have been taught that to sing popular styles is to endanger the health of the voice. These things are not correct. They are outdated. They are patently false. And yet, if we came from an environment where that's what we learned, and the people we trusted and the people we love told us those things, it's really hard to shake them. I mean, let's be fair. It's hard to shake them. So that's a thing that you have to sort of work your way through and out of if you're going to make space for your singers of popular styles. And when I say popular styles, by the way, I'm talking about anything you sing into a microphone, including contemporary music theater. So, R&B, jazz, rock, singer-songwriter, all this stuff. So that's a thing. We need training. We need to be trained on how to do that. So when we train for like that person who sings into a microphone, do I need to do this again? Throw that out there. Yeah. So if you want the free thing, put neurovocal in the comments below. If you want to sign up for this, the only time I'm going to tell you about this coupon code is in this live stream. It will not be printed anywhere. So if you put live stream and you pick the 6 payment option to join this class, you will get the first payment for free. Absolutely no money. Okay. Now, here's the thing about band singers. And here's some more gold that you probably have not thought of, because why would you? Band singers can't hear themselves. They can't hear themselves. So, and I'm going to do my next live stream is going to be specifically about this and how it works in brains and with hearing and why it matters. But for now, let's just say, first of all, when they perform, they can't hear themselves. Now, to be fair, I have some teachers who take the teacher training and certification class who say, well, Meredith, I mean, I sing acoustically and I can't hear myself half the time. It really depends on the venue. Maybe you can't hear yourself. But I'm not going to speak to that because that's not my lane. That's out of my lane. but these people can't hear themselves because of the amplification on the stage. And so here they are, they learn to sing with, so they're taking coaching with you, and you're working in an acoustic environment, and then they practice in their car, and they practice in their shower, and they practice in their living room, all these acoustic environments, and they relate to their voices in this way that's really specific to this acoustic environment, and then they go on stage, and not so much anymore. We are no longer dealing with those acoustic signals, and it is a really different, you're asking your brain to process that information in a really different way. So that's a big deal. The other thing is, they live in a very different world than you may have come up in. So unless you are somebody who is that kind of teacher who comes to my class who lives in that world, you are a band singer and you teach band singers. If you are that, then you know a lot of the assumptions. But if you're not that, how would you know? There's no way for you to know. And yet, these assumptions are really guide rails for your clients who are coming to you. They're coming to you with these assumptions, meaning that they think you know, and you don't. So that's another big thing. As I said, they're kind of scared of you because they're afraid that you are going to change their singing. And they may or may not have evidence that voice coaches, which is what they call it, by the way, try to change your singing. They do not want their singing changed. They don't want to change their singing. They want their voices to be more responsive to their intentions. That is a very different outcome, a very different goal. So that's what they want. They want their voices to be more responsive. So do I need to do it? No, I don't. I'm just going to leave that up there. All right. So now I'm going to talk real quick. Oh, I've been talking a long time. What we do in class. We cover neuroscience, not in a big, scary way. We are not going to talk about neurochemicals. We are not going to talk about how neurons talk to each other. We're not going to get into the nitty gritty. What we're going to do is pay attention to the learning part of neuroscience, how your brain works to learn different things in different ways. And this is really important. I think it's really important to give people information that they can bring into the studio that week. Whatever week we learned it, I want you to have enough of an understanding. So I want to give you a piece of information that is not too big, that is not overwhelming, but that makes you go, ooh, I could try that with my students this week. So that's what we want, is for you to feel like, oh, that sounds fun. We're going to try this with our students, and then have that experience, have that an outcome, bring that to class, say, hey, this is what happened in my studio this week, which is really it's a fun journey to take together. And we take this journey together that is really, really nice. We talk about style, like what is popular? What is popular music? What is singing for popular music? What do we need to know about that? How can we help our students, and or how can we stay out of their way? Different people need different things. How do we do that? How do we navigate that in a way that is empowering to our students, in a way that is acknowledging them as individuals and as musicians, and that, but also gives them the support that they need. So we talk about that. We talk about how people will learn. We talk some about anatomy and physiology, just so that we know that we're all on the same page. We talk about breathing. How is breathing different for popular styles? You know, if you were brought up in a classical, well, if you were not trained, if you were the organic singer, you may not have a sense of like, how does breathing work for my singing? Like, you may not have put that together. If you were brought up in a classical training situation, then you are like, your inhalation is part of your breath, like is part of you breathe in a certain way, and then you hold your body in a certain way as you create tone. And these are things that are really specific to the genre, but how can we take the good stuff out of that and apply it to singing for popular styles? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how hormones affect your voice and the voices of your clients. We're also going to make sure that you feel confident in this class. So that's another thing, is So I used to teach this class in 9 weeks, and it was kind of like Wendy, who was here earlier. It's kind of a fire hose of information. And some people do really well with fire hoses of information. They like to sort of go back over and look at things again and like really chew on things. Those are the people who like conferences, and a lot of people do really well with that. Generally, though, we learn better as people. So if you're the exception, I respect that. But as people, we tend to learn better when we learn things in little bits. We can apply, we can make our mistakes, we can loop back again and again and again and refine and check in. So now that the class is 20 weeks, it gives us a chance to really, really get these concepts and really internalize these concepts, which is so powerful for the people involved. We have 3 weeks of workshops where we work with one another, and that's always fun. That's really fun. You'll like that. And everybody who is in the class gets 6 private coaching sessions with me. So the things that you may not feel comfortable to talk about in a group, or the chances that you need to take in terms of internalizing these new ideas, accessing your voice through your brain on purpose. These are things that are really important and tend to be do what we do better in our one-on-one coaching. Oh, okay. So Wendy still, God bless you, Wendy. Wendy says, I have to go to bed. I have to go. Oh, no, not I have to go to bed. Oops, I have to go. But before I leave, I want to say Meredith explains things in a way you experience so many aha moments. Thank you, Wendy. I appreciate that. And I do try. Lord knows I try. Thank you for being here. I am going to wrap it up now just to tell you that in the class, we have all the things I described. There are support materials. There's a Facebook group. We have discussion times in class where we share experiences. We have the community of the class. It's very high touch. It's just a great experience. And that's why I get really excited about it. And that's why I want you to join it. So thank you very much for being here with me today. Again, I'm going to make my offers one more time here. So if you want the free ebook download, put neurovocal in the comments below, or if you are on YouTube, in the description below. If you would like to take, if you'd like a promo code for registering for the class, if you sign up for the 6 payment option and you put in the word live stream, you will get the first payment for free, 0 for the first payment. And is that all I have for you today? That is all I have for you today. That's all I have for you today. So thank you very much for being here with me today and listening to me go on and on about the thing that I get the most excited about, which is teaching this class. And if you have questions, email me, DM me, check out my website. Go to my website, get the information. The link to the class is in my, how do you call it? The information. Link in bio. There we go. Link in bio. So thank you very much. Have a great week. Bye-bye.